am I beyond the names and roles I assign myself? Who stands behind all these labels, claiming them as me? Throughout our lives, we're surrounded by tags and stories. From birth, you're given a name, a role, an identity, things that seem to define you. But are they truly your essence? Or are they just layers you've draped over yourself? Imagine standing before a mirror. You see your face, your body, the physical markers that define you in this world. But if you look deeper, can you see your true nature? Are you really this body, or is there something hidden beneath? Now picture a vast ocean. On its surface, waves churn, each seeming separate with its own shape and rhythm. But look deeper, and you'll see every wave is inseparable from the ocean. It's an essential part, yet not the whole. Each wave is a fleeting expression, but its essence is water, the boundless ocean. You are like that wave. Everything you think you are, your body, memories, emotions, identity, is just a temporary expression on the surface. But you are not these waves. You are the ocean. If you're not your body, your past memories, or the identity you claim, then what are you? The answer doesn't lie in something you can name or define. It lies in your infinite existence, something you've always been but never fully recognized. For now, forget everything you've believed about yourself, your name, roles, successes, or failures. These are all stories. In this video, we'll peel back the layers of illusion hiding your true self. We'll explore the ego, consciousness, and the truth that you were never born and will never die. But first, let's ask the biggest question. If I'm not my body, memories, or identity, then who am I? Here's why this matters. By the end of this video, you'll discover a freedom that releases you from fear, self-doubt, and the endless need to prove yourself. You'll see how to live fully in each moment, unburdened by the stories you've carried. Let's dive in. Dear friend, when you think of yourself, what comes to mind? Likely personal stories, your name, what you've done, what you've been through. These form what you call yourself. But have you ever wondered who's telling this story? That's the ego. The ego isn't a physical thing. It has no shape or size. Instead, it's the center of every story you tell about yourself, the concept you use to define I. But is the ego really you? Or is it just an illusion? The ego forms from thoughts, emotions, and memories. It's like an invisible bag you carry, filled with beliefs about yourself. From childhood, you start building this bag. A compliment from a parent, a critique from a teacher, a joyful or painful experience, all are collected and stored in the bag labeled me. Over time, you identify with this bag. You think, I'm successful, I'm a failure, I'm funny, or I'm shy. But pause and reflect. Are these thoughts and memories really you? They come and go, shifting through life's stages. If they change, how can they define who you are? Let's consider a real example. Imagine you face a major failure at work. Your ego jumps in, whispering, I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. These thoughts aren't just words. They carry emotions, sadness, shame, even anger. Those emotions start driving your actions. You might retreat, avoiding new opportunities out of fear. But look closer, those thoughts aren't the truth. They're just the ego's reaction, protecting the story it's built about you. If you believe that story, you're trapped in a cycle of suffering. The ego doesn't just limit you with negative thoughts, it's also the source of desire and comparison. It says, I'll be happy if I get this, or I need to be better than others to feel worthy. But have you noticed that even when you achieve your goal, the ego quickly shifts to a new target? It's never satisfied, like a bottomless well that demands filling but never overflows. Imagine watching a movie. You're swept up in the story, feeling joy when the hero succeeds, sorrow when they fail. Then you realize it's just a movie. The characters aren't real, just images on a screen. The ego is like the protagonist in a movie you've created. You invest thoughts, emotions, time, and energy to protect it. But look closely, and you'll see it's just a story, a collection of fleeting thoughts and emotions. Here's the big question: what happens if you let go of the ego? You don't lose your sense of self or become a blank slate. Instead, you realize you're not the story you tell yourself. You are the consciousness where that story appears and dissolves. The ego is just a concept, a temporary structure we identify with, but your true essence transcends all that, unbound by thoughts, emotions, or memories. So, who are you without the ego? This idea might feel disorienting at first, but it's also the gateway to true freedom. Without the ego's constraints, you no longer need to defend or prove your worth. You're not controlled by fear or ambition. Instead, you experience life fully as it is, without the veil of illusion. In a quiet moment, look back on your life, from the day you were born, your earliest memories, your successes and failures, to this very moment. It all seems shaped by the flow of time, a journey from start to finish. But what if everything you think about yourself, the story of being born and dying, is just an illusion? The idea that you were never born sounds paradoxical, but it's not a denial of your body or the world around you. Instead, it's a way to look deeper, beyond the surface of ordinary perception, to uncover a timeless truth. Your true essence has no beginning and no end. Let's start by understanding time. As we experience it, time seems like a sequence of events, past, present, future. We place ourselves in this flow, believing there's a starting point when we're born and an end point when we die. But does time really exist this way? Or is it just how the human mind organizes experiences to create meaning? Your true essence doesn't exist in time. It's consciousness, the unchanging space where all experiences arise and fade. Think of it like the sky above. Whether it's sunny, rainy, or stormy, the sky remains vast and unaffected by what passes through it. Dark clouds come and go, but the sky stays whole, unchanged. You are that sky. Your thoughts, emotions, and life events are like clouds. They appear, shift, and dissolve. But your unchanging essence, the vast consciousness, is always present. You weren't born with your roles or stories, and you don't vanish when they end. What you truly are transcends all that. Reflect on this. If you have no beginning, does the fear of an end still matter? We fear death because we believe it's the final stop, the end of I. But when you realize the I is just a story, and you are the consciousness where that story unfolds, fear dissolves. Philosopher Alan Watts once said, "What you truly are never begins and never ends." It's like the ocean, where waves rise and fall, but the water remains forever. You are the water, not the wave. To clarify, imagine a dream. In it you might live a full life, born, growing up, dying. But when you wake, you realize it was all an illusion. No one was truly born or died. It was just fleeting expressions in your mind. Life is like that. When you look deeply into your true nature, you see that everything you think is I is just an expression in consciousness. This consciousness doesn't arise with the body or vanish when the body fades. Set aside all beliefs about who you are, where you came from, or where you're going. Instead, ask, if I have no beginning, why fear an end? This question isn't just a mental game. It's the doorway to freedom. When you're no longer bound by the concept of time, every moment becomes an expression of your eternal essence. You don't need to race towards something or flee from anything else. You simply are, right now, in this moment. The truth that you were never born isn't a denial of life. It's an affirmation that you're not limited by the stories you tell yourself. It frees you from fear and suffering, letting you live fully as you are, an eternal, boundless consciousness, unbound by time or space. You are something infinite, untethered, never born, and never dying. Picture this. You're standing in a room filled with mirrors. Each reflects a different image. You as a parent, a success, a failure, a jokester, or a shy person. But is any of these images truly you, or are they just temporary reflections shaped by the mirror's angle? This is how the ego works. It creates countless images of you and convinces you one of them is your true essence. But the ego isn't you. It's just a collection of stories you've unknowingly believed. The ego gains power from our belief in it. From childhood, you're taught to build a story about yourself, who your parents are, what you want, what you must achieve to be valued. Over time, this story grows complex. Every experience, thought, and emotion adds to it, reinforcing what you call I. But what happens when this story is challenged? You might feel hurt, scared, or defensive. That's the ego protecting itself, making you believe you can't exist without it. When you ask, who's feeling this emotion? You return to consciousness beyond the story the ego tells. Try this the next time a strong emotion arises. Anger, sadness. Pause and ask, where is this emotion happening? Does it belong to anyone? You'll notice it doesn't truly belong to you. It's just a fleeting phenomenon in your consciousness. The ego exists as an illusion, and that illusion dissolves the moment you look directly at it. It's like standing before a foggy mirror. At first, you see only distorted, chaotic reflections and think they're you. But wipe the surface clean, and you realize they're just reflections, not reality. The ego is like dust on the mirror, clouding your consciousness. When you recognize your true nature, that dust clears, revealing clarity and brilliance. True freedom doesn't come from holding on, but from letting go. Clinging to the ego binds you to desires, fears, and the need to protect yourself. But when you let go, you see life doesn't need an ego to flow. Like a river moves naturally without a guiding hand, your life unfolds effortlessly without an ego's control. As Rumi said, you are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. This doesn't mean abandoning your individuality or responsibilities. It means recognizing your true essence is infinite, unbound by the ego's stories. When you return to consciousness, you're no longer controlled by those tales. You begin living in freedom without needing to defend or prove your worth. This freedom isn't something you seek. It's your ever-present nature. When you live without the ego's grip, your actions aren't driven by thoughts like, what's in it for me? Or, what will others think? Instead of being pushed by desire or fear, your actions flow naturally from the situation. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth or compare yourself to others. Think of a bird building its nest. It doesn't plan meticulously or wonder if its nest is prettier than another's. It simply does what's needed, naturally and fully. Humans can live this way too, fully present in each moment, undisturbed by mental stories. A common misconception is that without the ego, we'd lose the ability to make decisions or that emotions would become meaningless. The opposite is true. Without the ego, decisions arise more naturally, unclouded by fear or personal bias. Imagine standing at a crossroads, deciding which path to take. With the ego, you worry about consequences. What if I choose wrong? What will people think? Without it, you simply choose the path that feels right based on what you know in that moment. Decisions become part of the flow, free of struggle or doubt. Emotions work the same way. Without the ego, emotions still arise. You feel joy, sadness, anger, or love, but you no longer identify with them. They don't define you. They're simply phenomena that come and go, like ripples on a lake. You experience them fully, but aren't swept away. Living without the ego isn't about rejecting life or becoming a blank slate. It's about living with ease, lightness, and true freedom, recognizing you're not the stories you tell, but the space where all stories unfold. When the ego no longer drives you, you see things as they are. Take a flower. With the ego, you don't truly see it. You see your opinions. This flower is pretty, but I've seen better. Or, it reminds me of a sad memory. Without the ego, you see the flower in its fullness, without judgment or comparison. You experience it completely, untrapped by your story. This applies to relationships too. Without the ego, you don't view others through expectations or judgments. You don't need them to play a role to validate your worth. Instead, you're truly present with them, listening and connecting deeply. When the ego fades, the boundary between I and other dissolves. You realize we're all part of the same whole, not separate individuals, but different expressions of the same source. Think of a flame lit from many candles. Each candle has its own shape, size, and color, but the light from each flame is the same, indistinguishable. Your true essence isn't the candle, it's the light. When you're free from the ego, you see yourself and others as part of the same light, distinct in form but unified in essence. This doesn't diminish your individuality, it deepens your appreciation for yourself and others. You no longer need to defend or separate yourself. You understand you're part of a greater connection, unbreakable. Close your eyes and feel your breath. When you don't cling to any story, just feel the breath moving in and out. You realize you don't need to do anything to be yourself. You don't need to be perfect or strive. Your existence is already a miracle. After this deep exploration, you might ask, if I'm not the I thought, what am I? The answer isn't in adding anything, but in letting go of what isn't you. The identities, memories, and emotions you've claimed are just layers. They come and go, but you remain. You are infinite consciousness. Look back on this journey, from recognizing the ego as an illusion to understanding you were never born and will never die. You've peeled away the veils to see your true essence. You're not what you think or the stories you tell. You're the silent space where all experiences arise and fade. You're not the wave. You're the boundless ocean. Most of us believe enlightenment is something ahead, a state to achieve. But the truth is, you don't need to seek it. Your true essence is already here, now. This consciousness isn't something you gain. You've never lost it. All you need is to recognize you've always been it. This freedom isn't a state to reach. It's a truth you realize. You've always been yourself, an unchanging consciousness, untouched by life's waves. When you see this, everything changes, not the external world, but how you see it. You no longer fear life's ups and downs or get caught in fleeting emotions or thoughts. You become light, natural, and aligned with life's flow. Let this message close our journey. You don't need to do anything to be yourself. Release every illusion, every burden you've carried. Freedom isn't something to achieve. It's what you've always been.